The Elder's Mark SMG is one of the best weapons in Fallout 76, and because of that, it's very popular. By itself, the Elder's Mark is a very powerful weapon, but with the right build, you can make it even stronger, and it can be used to solo farm the EN06 boss, and you can use it for every encounter in the raid. So in this video, I will be showing you this build and guiding you through setting it up. But before we get into this video, if you're a fan of the Fallout games and the Fallout TV show, click the link in the pinned comment below to join my Fallout Discord server, where you can find other people to play Fallout 76 with, discuss the Fallout TV show, or just talk about anything related to Fallout. And also a massive thank you to a Nerdish Walnut who is one of the mods in the Discord server. Not only did he hook me up with some of the legendary mods and help me out with some testing for this build, but he also went out of his way to collect over 45 Elder's Mark SMGs to give away to the Discord community. So when this video goes live, we'll be giving away at least one Elder's Mark SMG on Discord every day. Now, because this build will have the ability to solo farm the Guardian boss, there will be two weapons that we'll need for this build. The first one is obviously the Elder's Mark SMG, and the second one is a flamer. Any flamer will work, but I personally like the Holy Fire, because it will come with the vampire mod on it, which will help you stay alive and use less stim packs while farming the Guardian. I'll go over why you want a flamer for this build later, but currently it's the best heavy weapon option for this build. And just in case you're a new player, you can get both the Elder's Mark and the Holy Fire Flamer from the Beasts of Burden public event. Now for the Elder's Mark, we're going to be running it pretty close to the base version of the weapon. For the legendary mods, we'll want Furious and Rapid, which will come on the weapon. Furious will let us gain stacks of Onslaught that can increase our damage up to 45%, and Rapid will increase the weapon's speed. In the third legendary slot, we'll want VATS optimized to reduce action point cost by 35%. And in the 4-star slot, we'll want pinpointers to do 20% more damage to weak points. For the weapon mods, you'll want the Prime Receiver, Short Light Barrel, Recoil Compensated Stock, Large Drum, Glow Sights, and a Suppressor. All of this will bring our VATS accuracy to 75 and AP cost down to 9. Now, if you're a new player, you may not have these mods unlocked, so all you need to do is go to the White Spring Mall and then talk to the Responders vendor to buy the plan for the submachine gun. Then you can make a bunch of these and scrap them to learn mods for the Elder's Mark, other than the Prime Receiver. That one will come from the Scorched Beast Queen nuke boss. So for this build, we will be running power armor, and the power armor that I suggest for this will be the Vulcan power armor, because of the set bonuses on it, which will give us 25% increased AP regen and 25% fusion core duration. Now I know that this might not be something that everyone has, but you can also just use any set of power armor. The Vulcan is just best for min-maxing the AP regen. But I've also used this build on the T65 and it was just as good. So use whichever power armor you like the most, but if you have the Vulcan, it will work very well for this build. The mods that we want on our power armor will be Troubleshooters to reduce the damage that we take from robots by 15% each. This will help when farming the Guardian boss. Next, we want Agility to increase our total amount of AP. The 3rd-star slot really doesn't matter, but there are some good options like Through Hikers and Safecrackers. This might sound weird at first, but using these legendary mods on your armor will free up space in your perk cards and still reduce the weight of items that you carry and allow you to lockpick. And like I said, the 3-star mod slot on your power armor really doesn't matter, so it's better to use something that will give you some form of utility. And in the 4th legendary mod slot, you'll want Rangers, which will increase your range damage by 5% per mod for a total of 25% on a full set. The other things that you may want will be the Calibrated Shocks mod on your legs to increase your carry weight by 100 pounds, and the Medic Pump on the torso to help you stay alive while farming the Guardian. But all you'll need is Troubleshooters, Agility, and Rangers. Now let's go over the perk cards for this build, starting with our legendary perk cards. So for this build, I use Luck, Agility, Perception, and Strength, just to be able to fit all of the perk cards that I need into this build. I'm also using Follow Through, which will make ranged sneak attacks increase my damage by 40% for 10 seconds. And I'm using Taking One for the Team, which will make enemies take 40% more damage from my attacks when they attack me if I'm on a team. but I do change follow through to Funky Duds when fighting the snake, because you won't be able to get sneak attacks off during that fight, and the poison resistance will be much better to have for that fight. Now for the actual perk cards for this build, there will be a lot of them, but let's go over the important ones. Starting with Easy Target, which will increase our range damage by 75% against crippled targets. Once the Guardian's shield is down, it will become a crippled target, giving us a free 75% damage increase. Bullet Storm will increase our damage by 9% per 30 rounds fired. Lock and Load will let us keep half of our Bullet Storm stacks when we reload, and increase our reload speed by 1%. And Bringing the Big Guns will let us double the maximum stacks of Bulletstorm up to a total of 20. Now all of this will work together really well for fighting bosses that have long fight times. The more you shoot the boss, the more damage that you will do, and you won't lose the entire damage buff when you reload. Number Cruncher will increase our damage by 2% per AP cost of the weapon. Tormentor will make us do 20% more damage per crippled limb that the target has. Tank Killer will make our attacks ignore 40% of the target's armor. Center Masochist will increase our range damage by 75% when attacking the target's torso. Concentrated Fire will let us focus fire to gain 3% accuracy and 3% damage per shot. And Deal Sealer will make us do 10% more damage per impairment that the target has. This is the reason that we're using a Flamer as our second weapon, because it will apply burning to the target, which will increase our Elder's Mark damage by 10%. Bullet Shield will be needed alongside the Flamer to bring the Guardian shield down, and Starched Genes will let us lock in our mutations. Strange in Numbers will increase the positive effects of our mutations by 25% if we're on a team with mutated teammates. And Tenderizer will make the target take more and more damage every time you hit them. Covert Operative will make ranged attacks do 50% extra sneak damage. Gunslinger Expert will make us do 1% extra range damage to weak spots per onslaught stack that we have, and increase our max stacks by 3. Gorilla will increase our damage by 20% to close enemies. Gorilla Expert will increase our reload speed by 1% per onslaught stack, and increase max stacks by 3. Gorilla Master will increase our range damage to close enemies by 5% per stack, and increase max stacks by 5. Mr. Sandman will make silenced weapons do 100% extra sneak attack damage. Better Criticals will make VATS criticals do 100% more damage. Class Freak reduces the negative effects of mutations by 75%. And Critical Savvy will make critical hits only consume 55% of the critical meter. And those are the perk cards that you'll need for this build, but you could also just copy everything that you see here for a pretty solid build. For mutations, we'll be using Eagle Eyes for 50% extra crit damage and 4 perception, Egghead for 6 intelligence, Herbivore to double the benefits of plant-based foods, Herd Mentality to increase all specials by 2 when on a team, and then Marsupial and Speed Demon for mobility. When it comes to the food and the drinks, the most important one is canned coffee. We will use this to have infinite VAT shots and crank out critical hits every 2 to 3 shots. You also want Blight Soup to increase your critical damage by 100%, and Overdrive to increase your base damage by 15% and critical damage by another 30%. And if you have them, the Small Guns Bobblehead will increase our ballistic weapon damage by 20, and the Tesla Science 8 magazine will increase critical damage by 50%. Now actually using this build is pretty simple. For the Guardian, you'll just start the fight and then go to the end of this ramp and crouch. Pull out your Flamer and wait for the fight to start. When it starts, you'll want to slowly start shooting the boss with the Flamer while spamming your stim packs. And then right before the boss's shield goes down, use all of your buff items like Overdrive and then spam your canned coffee. Then swap to your Elder's Mark and enter VATS and start shooting. While you're doing this, you need to spam the critical attack button to make sure you're getting criticals out as often as you can. And as you can see, because of the canned coffee, your AP will stay very close to max. So you can just spam out critical hits while also maintaining a solid damage per shot. And that's pretty much it. It's a very easy build to use, and you can use it for the entire Gleaming Depths raid, and everything else you may do in Fallout 76. And again, if you're on PC and you're looking for an Elder's Mark to try out this build, join the Discord and participate in the daily giveaways. There are multiple different builds for the Elder's Mark, but this was just the first one that I wanted to do as it's the one that I use the most. But I will have more Elder's Mark builds coming for this channel. So I hope you enjoyed this build and thank you for watching.